Hello users, and welcome to another episodic installation of Above It All. So I know that a right-winger, potentially a couple, are going to watch this video, and I know that they have short attention spans. I know, you're triggered, you're writing your comments, yeah. So, I would like to say this from the get-go. Do you support free speech? Do you support the First Amendment to the Constitution of the United States of America? If so, do you also support secret police kidnapping people for walking on their street at night? And if that's the case, I would like you to Google the term cognitive dissonance and then tell me what you've learned. So, night 51, riot declared at police union, tear gas used at Justice Center. This is Cohen, I think CBS, whatever, I don't know. This is just, a random write-up I found. It's got some good embeds from Twitter. So I felt like, why not? A riot was declared at the Portland Police Association headquarters on N. Lombard after police said demonstrators broke into the building and lit a fire. Meanwhile, federal officers deployed tear gas outside the federal courthouse downtown. The fencing that had been dismantled by protesters Friday night around the Chapman Square and Lounsdale Park was also repaired and replaced. By Saturday night, those repaired fences had come down again. What a profound waste of money. This is one of those things. Okay, they want to stop the protest. You, as a free speech conservative, right? Yeah, free speech, right? Well, how do you feel about the revolution? During the revolution, they tore down statues of King George. Remember the Boston Tea Party? How do you feel about all that? That was illegal, but they did it anyway. Because it doesn't matter if something is legal. What matters if it's moral and just. Do you smoke marijuana? That's illegal, bro. Like, if you're a right-winger and you support Trump and you also smoke marijuana, you're a fucking idiot. I'm sorry. But do you think people deserve to go to jail for smoking marijuana? Do you? Really? What about for drinking alcohol? Think about that. Again, Google cognitive dissonance. So obviously Donald Trump was having a meltdown. We are trying to help Portland, not hurt it. Their leadership has, for months, lost control of the anarchists and agitators. They are missing in action. We must protect federal property and our people. These were not merely protesters. These are the real deal. He's so fucking cringy. So for whatever reason, this has a timeline of events, and it starts at midnight and then goes to 9 p.m., so I'm just going to go, like, here. I'm going to go to the bottom. But as you can see, this is a good clip. I like this one.
Do your job and be a hero! Win your job!
I love it. I love it, because that's the thing. Again, look at Seattle. Seattle did the autonomous zone. They did several weeks straight of protests. Guess what they did? They voted to cut the police department budget by 50%. Good start, right? Good start. It's not bad. I'll take it. It's not 100%. It's not 90%. Certainly not 69%. But I'll take it. So that's the thing. It's like, we're in a pandemic where our healthcare workers are committing suicide in record numbers because they have no proper equipment. They're seeing thousands of people die, and they're getting the virus themselves because Donald Trump is a fucking moron. So how come, like, we have riot cops that have like $15,000 worth of gear on at any given time when we can't even give PPE to healthcare workers that costs like $5? We need to defund the police because the police is exorbitantly funded. It is unnecessary, just in the same way that we need to defund the military. The military does not need to be so large. It does not need to have a base on every fucking country in the goddamn fucking world. The police do not need to have millions of dollars of fucking guns, ammo, and riot gear and tear gas. They don't need it. And that's the point of these protests. It's a feedback loop. It's the protesters are upset at police injustice, so the police enact injustice, and that makes the protesters more upset at police injustice. If instead, on night 1 of the protest, they were like, all right, we'll defund the police by 10%, and we'll also fire every cop that has abusive force complaints. That probably, honestly, would have been enough Maybe not for Portland, maybe 25%, who knows, right? But like there is a point where you can retain most of what you have, right? Because again, when you're that rich, when you have that much money, what is the difference between $6 billion for the New York fucking police? The New York City Police Department is $6 billion budget. What is the difference between $6 billion and $4 billion? In actuality, yeah, sure, maybe you have a few less riot cops. Maybe you get rid of a few cops that have abusive force complaints, get them off the payroll, cut their pensions. They don't deserve it. If you abuse people, you don't deserve a pension. Go fuck yourself. Get a job. Pick yourself up by your bootstraps. But imagine that in New York City. They could spend $2 billion easily, and the police would mostly be the same, because honestly, what is the difference between $4 billion and $6 billion, right? In actual, real world events and interactions, what is the difference? So if you were to take those $2 billion, you could give every person in that city health care. You could give every person in that city a college education. You could give every person in that city a hefty stimulus to prevent homelessness. You could give every person in that city X, Y, Z, and onward. But they're not, and that's why these protests are necessary. So let me scroll up the timeline here. This is a nice one. I like this. End Portland Police. God bless. You love to see it. So hundreds of people have gathered near the Justice Center and Federal Courthouse tonight. This is what happened last night as of this video. It's pretty cool, actually. Like, just seeing all these people, just like, you know, solidarity is just beautiful. Everyone realizing that, yes, this is a problem. I was beaten by police when I was fucking X. I was beaten by police when I was Y. My friend was beaten by police when they were Z. My mom was abused by police, you know? I was evicted by police, you know? I had police pull me over for being black. Like, everyone's got their story. I've got my stories. I've told them. I'm not going to waste time here because, you know, I've told them in other videos. But we all have our stories where police have abused us in some way, shape, or form. And that's what builds this solidarity. Police are an occupying terrorist regime. That's what they are. Again, they do not need the money that they have. If you cut the police department by 50% and reinvested that money into social workers, reinvested that money into ending homelessness and poverty, guess what? There would be less crime because it's a feedback loop. There was a story I read the other day, or actually yesterday, of someone robbing a bank. And they had a note that they pushed up to like the shield or whatever, right? And said like, I didn't get my small business loan. My small business went under. My family can't afford food. I need this. The government wouldn't help me, so I need to help myself and my family. Now, it's possible they were lying, sure. If that's the first thing you think of, then obviously you don't know anyone in the real world. You live in like some weird rich person bubble. Or at least you pretend to and watch soap operas on TV to try to LARP as if you are one of them. But in the real world, the coronavirus has killed 140-something thousand people. But you know what else it's done? It's displaced millions of people. I covered this story earlier this week that the USA could reach 28 million new homeless people by September. Not 28,000, not 280,000, 28 million people in this country could be homeless by September because of the eviction crisis going on, because people are losing their jobs, or they lost their $15 an hour job and then was only able to find a $7.25 an hour job, or even worse, they have to get a delivery job or a gig worker job that pays $5.25 an hour for some fucking delivery drivers. Oh, you get tips when no one tips, so we'll pay you less. That's the idea. Most people can't get good jobs, and so they're losing what they've got. They're losing their family. What if 3 people in this family had employment, right? And they had decent employment, but only 2 of them could find another job and the job paid less. That's going to impact their bottom line. We are going to be in a scenario where there's going to be tens of millions of new homeless people in the coming months. Yet, the police can show up with riot gear that costs thousands of dollars. They can show up with tear gas, which costs thousands of dollars. They can show up with guns, like fucking tanks, military units. They can show up with fucking giant trucks. They can show up with anything that they want. All they have to do is ask. They can show up with their $6,000 fucking coffee maker, right? Because they have that. Because why not? When you have so much money, why not get a $6,000 coffee maker? You drink a lot of coffee, let's splurge, right? That's the thing here, is it's a feedback loop. If this money were to have just gone to the homeless, to the impoverished, then all of the crimes, or at least most of the crimes, would cease to exist. Robberies would mostly cease to exist. Now, there's a few kleptomaniacs out there, right? Sure. But are all people that engage in theft and robbery kleptomaniacs? No. Most of them just want to feed their family, and they can't get a job. Because this economy is garbage. But we have some more video here, which is really good. Like, again, just watching this kind of stuff, obviously, like, it's scary. This is good. I really like that. I really like that. What a badass. I should do a video on that as a whole. But, like, seeing the community solidarity, seeing people say enough is enough, is just, it's brilliant. It's just brilliant. Like, seeing things get set on fire. I'm an anarchist, right? I'm a violent anarchist, as President Trump would say. And so I love seeing things on fire. But one of the things here was, this is a great photo. One of the things was that the police, like, union, like, building was set on fire. But what's interesting about this is that we've got several examples of police setting fires and getting caught, of police starting crimes and getting caught and then blaming it on protesters. So unless there's a video of protesters running in, which I haven't seen, and starting a fire, I honestly don't care. It doesn't matter to me. I want to see surveillance cameras, right? They've got surveillance cameras, right? I would like to see those surveillance cameras. Now, it's totally possible that protesters did it, and if they did, they're justified, because the police are an occupying terrorist regime. That's what they are. And that's what you need to understand, is they are not here to protect us. They are here to protect wealth and rich people. And unless you're a rich person, I don't want to hear you say Blue Lives Matter, because you're a cuck. You're a beta male. What happened during the Obama years when you were stockpiling your arms, saying big government tyranny? We have secret police kidnapping people for walking down their own street. And yet, you're going to automatically de facto defend the government? What about those guns you got? What about those arms? What about don't tread on me? What about all these libertarian, freedom-loving mantras that you've got? What happened to that? Just be honest with yourself. You're a fascist. You're a Nazi. Be honest with yourself. Once you're honest with yourself, it's easier for us, and it's easier for you to have an actual conversation. Because I'm tired of this cloak and dagger garbage. All cops are bastards. All cop defenders are Nazis. There is no exception. If you want to try to find an exception, I'll listen to it. I'll look at it, and then I'll tell you why that exception doesn't matter. Thank you for watching.